Have you ever left a relationship and realized you didn't know how to make a simple decision anymore? Not the big ones, simple ones, like what to eat, whether to speak up, whether you're reading the room right, whether if you're just right at all. Right? Moments like that take over and they come long after you've already left that marriage, that relationship that broke you. Hi, I'm Maria, and welcome to After the Breaking Stories of What We Rebuild After Life Breaks Us. And if you're new here, I'm glad you found this. This podcast exists because healing has a part that nobody prepares you for. It's not the leaving, it's not the grief, but it's the after. That's a quiet, disorienting, sometimes invisible work of rebuilding yourself when the noise finally stops. So, some of these episodes that I'm creating on After the Breaking are reflections, and some are just conversations, but all of them are rooted in one solid belief that I hold and I speak on in this show and all my other shows, which is that healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you who to be. So if right now something in your life has shifted and you're tired of being okay, if you're in that season after the breaking, you're in the right place. This show is for you. These conversations are about you because I was you. 8 years ago, I left a 17-year emotionally abusive marriage and I was you. After the breaking, lost, confused, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life and who I was living it. So I made this show and I started the work that I've been doing because of my journey. And today we're going to talk about something that I don't think we discuss enough in healing spaces. So, a lot of times when we're talking about divorce or emotional abuse or healing in general, we talk about trust, we talk about love, we talk about leaving. But what we rarely talk about is what emotional abuse does to your sense of competence. Yeah, your brain, your brain, how you think, your own mind, your own judgment, your capability. Emotional abuse can do a number on it. And I want to name that today really clearly because it might be that piece that's been living in you without language, like it was for me for a really long time. So, what I know about emotional abuse is that it doesn't announce itself as abuse, it announces itself as your inadequacy. It's not this one big moment, it's slow, consistent erosion of your memory, of your perception, of your decisions. And when someone questions all those things repeatedly over years, you stop waiting for them to even tell you you're wrong. You just assume you already are. That's your competence being impacted by someone else's perception and behaviors and words toward you. So that leads to the moments where you go from, he said I was wrong, which is where it starts. We know they keep telling us we're wrong. We did this wrong. We said this wrong. We moved wrong. We used the wrong tone, the wrong body language, wore the wrong things. And suddenly, quietly, it becomes, I'm probably wrong. That that internal shift, that's the damage we're talking about. And what I want to say really clearly to all of you listening right now is you didn't lose your confidence. Your confidence was systematically dismantled. That's emotional abuse, hitting you where it hurts the most. And I'm going to tell you, for all my lovely, strong, independent women, this is where it hits us. This is where we start to question ourselves outside of the space of the person who is doing the abuse. We don't have to be in their presence to question our competence. That's the power and impact of emotional abuse. So, I wanted to talk about this itself because for me, I know that it showed up at work. I was second guessing emails before I sent them. I was shrinking in meetings when I thought I knew the answer, but I questioned myself. I needed someone else to validate my decisions, even if I might have thought they already were right. It was showing up in my parenting. I was questioning everything. I felt like a fraud in a role that I had been living for so long, 17 years. And honestly, I wasn't sure. Was I doing it right? Was I being a good parent? I questioned all of it. And it showed up in friendships. I wasn't trusting my read on people. I was always questioning, was I too much or not showing up as enough, right? So all of this is your body. Your body forgets who you are, what you like, what's important to you, and starts to keep that circling narrative in your mind of who you've been told you aren't or you are. So it could be as simple as not knowing what you want for dinner or ending up in relationships with people and misreading the safety that you think you may have found and actually being harmed. Our competence comes up in so many things. And I think that's really important because this is what I feel I want to focus on because I know it impacted me. It showed up in my body, the way I would freeze. Um, and so I'm talking about this, and yes, it impacted me. Yes, it was there. But I want to talk about this because it really came up in this moment. It came up in this moment when I was actually in a training. I was in a training, and the training was all about, I'm an educator. For those of you who don't know, I'm an educator. I'm a coach. I'm a consultant. Let me tell you all about me, friends. I am a coach. I'm a consultant. I'm an educator. I am Maria Cosme. And oh, my mic is off. Were y'all hearing me this whole time? I hope you were. Let me know if you're in the comments out there. I see some people in here. Let me know if you heard me, if you can hear me now. Um, wow, I hope you could. But anyways, I am Maria. And this is after the breaking. And the reason I wanted to start talking about this is because I had a moment where it came back to me and I remember the power of someone controlling your competence, right? I'm an educator and I was in a classroom with a bunch of other educators and we were learning about, you guessed it, education, right? But one of the questions that was posed to us was, well, what is something that you are not good at? And when did you realize you weren't good at it? And how did you react to that, right? And for me, because we're in an educational space, right? It's two big things. It's sports and it's math. Okay. Like those are my two things that I'm not good at, right? Wasn't talking about sports in this situation. I was talking about math, right? But the crazy thing is, even though the conversation there was about my teachers and the way they made me feel, it didn't end there. My math identity and my understanding of my competence with finances and money and anything related to numbers was a control pinpoint. I don't even know what the word is. It was like a way for my ex to control me. I know it sounds kind of crazy, right? But literally, he would make me feel less capable about something I already knew I wasn't strong in. That was intentional. Most of the things people who are narcissists do are intentional. But that was very intentional. Um, and he would quiz me on our finances, not to make sure I knew and I was a part of the process, but to literally trip me up. That is someone making you feel like you're not competent, you're not smart enough. And I will tell you, after years and years and years of that, um, I started to question myself. I started to question if I was smart. I started to question if I was capable. And it showed up in everything that I was doing. Right. And so I say all of this because the thing with healing and why I created After the Breaking is that I don't think we have to stay here. I think we recognize things. So that's the pattern that I've been recognizing, is that someone wanted to make me question how smart I was. And they found my weakest point, which in this case was math. Maybe that's not yours. Maybe you have a different weak point. Let me know, right? If this is familiar, let me know if this is something you've experienced. Leave it in the chat, write something, right? And he controlled me and, most importantly, how I saw myself by making me question my intelligence. We don't talk about that in healing as much. We don't talk about that part of abuse, but that's huge because it will make you question everything, not just your intelligence at work, but your relationships, right? Your intelligence to make decisions, your ability to be a good parent, all of those things. What I want to tell you, though, is that we don't stay there and we don't have to stay there. Um, I have actually created some tools to help me through this, that have helped me through this. One is which, yeah, remembering my pattern, right? Like knowing who I am and what I've experienced and being able to actually say the things, say that I am experiencing a pattern of something that I didn't get from myself, but I was given by someone else. And that's the whole idea of this After the Breaking, is like, how do we come back to ourselves, right? So I have a process. I always have a process, friends. I always have a process, but I really have a process. I have a process. And it is actually part of the framework that I've developed. And I didn't just do this because I woke up one day and I'm like, oh, I got a framework for life. I've been living this. For 8 years, I've been living this. And the first step is, yeah, remember that pattern and who gave it to you. And then examine it. How does it show up for you? So for me, my examination has been now and after leaving, I had to figure out, okay, I'm on my own. Now I got to figure out my finances. I gotta take care of everything myself. I've gotta make sure that my income supports my 4 children because I wasn't getting any help with that, right? So, I had to take responsibility for something that I was told I was not capable of doing, and it hit me all the time. Every decision and every mistake I made, and I've had some mistakes I've made, and I've had some backtracking, right? Like, I was so hard on myself. So the examining part over here, right, in this framework is that you have to examine that pattern and recognize how it's showing up for you today. Coulda happened years ago, but how is it showing up for you today? And how is that creating pain? And how might that be benefiting you? And then we transform. Transform is where we shift our mindset. So, what I have transformed in these last 8 years is my belief about myself, about my competence. And I have to do it daily. And I have to come back to it. And I have to retrain my brain constantly. And then we unlearn, which is our behaviors. So, first the mind, first your belief systems, because words are power, but not just words, thoughts, emotions, your body, experiencing things, all of it actually dictates and impacts what's happening to you and how you are healing and whether or not you're actually healing. And then we unlearn, right? We unlearn the behaviors. I got to start moving differently. I got to start making differently with my finances, right? I have to trust myself and know that I can make the right decisions. And if I didn't think I was going to make the right decisions, well, I knew how to reach out to the right people. I had a village. And sometimes that's the unlearning. That's the unlearning part, is to actually change our behaviors by reaching out to people we need, by recognizing that the behavior that we've had needs to change. And then we reclaim. Reclaiming is the best part of this, friends. Reclaim is where you live your life differently. 8 years later, I'm living my life differently. I have built my own business, a talk show, a podcast. I'm a writer, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant. And if this all resonates with you, make sure that you connect with me, because my work, both my course, Empowerment Unlocked, which focuses on this framework, as well as my one on one coaching, if you want to go deeper into your patterns and your behaviors and understand yourself after the breaking and how to start healing, all of it is how I have reclaimed my power and my competence, because I know I did it all myself. I mean, with a village, with lots of support and people who believe in me and see me. But I did it. And I had to first remember, examine, transform my mindset, unlearn the behaviors, and then I could start to be the person that I know I can continue to be, that is strong, that is resilient, that is able to take care of and build a home with 4 children, and create nurture and guidance and power all in the same space. And I do, but it took work. And then finally, the last part of my framework is nurture, because we have to nurture the we have to nurture ourselves, which means, one, you give yourself grace, and two, you you give yourself grace. Hold on, friends. Lost my thought for a second. You give yourself grace, which means that you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to do it all in one setting. You're not going to, it is, oh, girls, friends, because I feel like there are men out here that are probably part of this after the breaking situation. And let me know if you're a man who has also had this after the breaking moment, where you are healing yourself after being broken by someone who disregarded your humanity, who intentionally, systematically made you question yourself. um, Tell me, if you're a guy, if you're a woman, right? But the grace that you have to give yourself is that it happens in pieces. 8 years later, and I'm still healing parts. It takes time, and you got to give yourself that time and clear your space for that time, which means don't be dating. I mean, be dating, but don't fall in love. Don't get into anything serious. Enjoy yourself. Live life. Discover yourself. That's the grace. That's the nurture part, because joy is the second part of nurture, which is that find your joy. So, yes, I am a very hardworking, motivated, pushing forward kind of woman who is always building, growing, deciding, visioning, all the things. But I find joy. In fact, sometimes my joy takes me in different directions. My joy was I tried adult gymnastics, and it ended up giving me a little bit of an injury. But here's what I'm gonna tell y'all, friends, and I told all my friends that I met at the Bond Academy conference too, is that I'll be out there again. I'm gonna heal this situation, and then I'm gonna be out there, because it was joyful. Yeah, I hurt myself, but I loved it. I was a kid again doing gymnastics. I dance, I sing, I do art, I go up and I do poetry, but joy feeds us. Healing is not just sitting in sadness. Healing is feeding all the parts of us that we never did because we were in survival mode for so long. So, all of this is just me giving you some input on after the breaking. I'm going to talk about these different things. Today, it was about the competence piece. Tell me if that resonated. Was there something that stood out to you about this idea of your competence being questioned and how it impacted you moving forward when you left an emotionally abusive relationship? I'd love to know. Am I on the mark? Do I need some more? What else do you want to hear about? What are some other areas and places and ways that emotional abuse has impacted you that you want me to go into? Because, Lord, friends, I've been through a lot. I'm still going through a lot because co parenting after doesn't end. And I got a 9-year old, so I got 8 more years of this situation. Um, God, was that the right math? See, I questioned my math, friends. This is the stuff, right? Competence. Like it really did. For a moment, numbers make me nervous. And I wasn't sure. Did I do the right math? And it is 8 years because technically my daughter's about to be 10 soon. But yes, I know 18. 9 plus 9 is 18. I got y'all, friends. Anyways, so here's what I want to leave you with. What I want to leave you with is actually some questions because I want you to think about for a moment like, where are you in this whole journey of after the breaking and thinking about how your understanding and awareness of how intelligent you are, how capable you are, has been impacted after you left a relationship. So, um, to do that, I want to leave you with a couple questions to sit with. And you might want to journal these. Maybe you can just think through them when you're walking or bring them into a conversation with someone you trust and actually process them, whatever works for you, right? So, here are my questions, right? One, think about for a second, where in your life are you still hearing someone else's voice instead of your own? What's that voice telling you? What's that voice saying about you to you? And do you believe it? Number two, what decision have you been waiting for permission to make? Yes, friends, competence stops us from making decisions. It freezes us. It makes us not think we're capable of the big jumps and leaps. And that was strategic. They pulled our competence away from us by making us feel we would never be able to leave because they could control us and we didn't have control. So now you're thinking about, what decision have you been waiting for permission to make? I'm gonna share a secret with y'all. For me, I think in a strange way, as I was growing up, I kind of always wanted to be a star. Not really, but sort of, right? And here I am, and I'm not a star, and I'm not saying that, but I got a little bit of a following. I got some friends who watch me. I got some people who interact with me because I have something to say that I know is going to help you. It's going to help someone. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's someone that you had a past relationship with, and now you know that you were the one who harmed them, and you could hand them this information to heal a little bit. But I gave myself permission to use my voice. I gave myself permission to get up in front of people and talk about real things, about my authenticity, about my real journey. What decisions have you been waiting for permission to make? And number three, what would it look like to trust yourself, to try something new or uncomfortable just once this week? Just see what happens, right? So really think about it. So, yeah, that was a big one, right? But what about something small? Do you have an idea at work and you just have been holding back from saying it? What if you trusted yourself and you just said it? Share it with a friend, share it with a colleague, share it in a meeting, but just try. So that's what I'm leaving you with today. This is after the breaking. And honestly, it's when the healing really begins. When we walk away, that's a start, but it's everything that we build and think about and intentionally start to create to come home to ourselves. I'm Maria. This is After the Breaking. And if you are ready to go deeper, there is a 5-week group course that I have called Empowerment Unlocked. I'm in my third session with a third group of people. I actually have 3 and 4 coming up. So catch them. The link is all going to be here in my bio and information for YouTube. It's in all my social media, so you should be following me. If you haven't done it yet, like and leave a comment on this show. And I really mean that. Like and leave a comment. Come on, friends. If you watched it, you can put your thumbs up. It's not that hard. And it really helps me out. So, and pass this along to anybody you think needs it. Um, so, Empowerment Unlocked. I have a summer session and a fall session that is coming up. Register, and you can be part of a cohort of a group of people who are in the same places of healing, different journeys, but similar. We'll be talking, we'll be sharing, we build community, we build connections. You might walk away with a new friend who also understands your journey and can also be an accountability partner to keep you on yours. Or maybe you're ready to go deeper. And if you are, I'm here for it. I coach people one-on-one using the return framework, but designing it for your needs. So all of these things are in my link tree, which is in my bio, which is also down here in the link for YouTube. And until the next time, reminding you to keep returning to yourself and keep returning to this channel, Brown Girl Interrupting. Follow me on YouTube, on TikTok, on IG, on Facebook, on Substack, which I also went live on today. So this is my first time being live on Substack, but hoping that it worked. And I'd love to see all my Substack family come and join me here on YouTube as well. So thank you. Thank you for coming. And I love it. Ah, thank you, Film de Montaigne. I appreciate it. I see you there and I see you. And I am so grateful to have you here, to have you be part of my village on this journey. And thank you to my Ranters Union friends. I know that you come and you share and you support my Substack family, my TikTok family, my Facebook family, all my people. I'm grateful for it. And I hope you continue to. I hope you pass this along because for me, honestly, all of this is about the power and the importance of healing after harm because healing is a choice and you get to make it if you want. And I'm here to help you on the journey when you're ready. Peace, love, and light.